All right, we're going to be adding an event to the calendar system, and you get started by logging into your system, scrolling down to event management, locating calendar admin, going ahead and clicking that. And to save a little bit of time, I have already created an event here. Typically, you would click on add new event, and when you add new event, you'll actually see this screen. And you can see I already put in a date. If you have an event that spans over multiple days, you can put the end date over here. If you know it's an event that's going to start again next month, you can put that date in, or the next month. If it's one-day events, you can just put in the single dates on the left-hand side. If it spans over a couple of days, and you want to put in a termination date on the right-hand side. Otherwise, it'll assume it's a one-day event. And down here, you can put in a date, and if you don't have details on the event, you can also put coming soon, and there'll be a coming soon notification on the calendar for, in this case, the 25th, 2014. We go ahead and go to the next screen, and what you have here is you have the event name. This is the name of the event. Typically, you would call it something like chamber mixer, or monthly luncheon, or wine festival, whatever it might be. That's the primary name of the event. It's to capture attention for sure. We did talk a little bit earlier about the syndicated calendar that you can read about at officialcalendar.network.com, which is this page here, officialcalendar.network.com. It'll explain the section I'm going to discuss like right now, and that is the event type. For instance, if this event is an art council event, then you would check that. If it's a Lions Club event, you would check that. If a member has submitted an event for their own business, you would check that. And in this case, this is one that you as an organization or chamber would be adding, so you would click organization chamber event. And in your system, you may not see this. In fact, you may not see any of these. And if that's the case, that means that you have one master calendar, you're not using the syndicated calendar system. If you want to move in that direction, then you can easily add an event type and just call it chamber event, or the name of your organization event, and then all of your events would have that checkbox. This is the event description. This is where it'll provide details about the event. This is the start time, the end time. Now, if you don't see these, there's a setting in MMS configuration under calendar configuration, and you can set this up to where it doesn't actually provide a table like this, a selection table, but just like an open entry area. We highly recommend that you use this style so that people can synchronize it to their own calendars. You can choose the time zone, for instance. If it's an event that maybe it's a Halloween party and it's going to go from 9 o'clock to whenever, right? So you can actually type in an alternate time as text, and what will happen is it will no longer take into account the times above, and it will override that and instead display 9 p.m. to whenever, if you know what I'm saying. This is the contact person for that event. If somebody has a question about the event, this is a great way to make sure they know who to contact. The contact email. This is the phone number of the person responsible for the event. This is the event location. You would want to put in fact, you can even do a lookup here for Hills Brother Coffee if there was such a thing, and it would assist you in putting in the address. But if you have the address, you go ahead and put it in, the city, state, zip code, and then your country code, which is United States in most cases, sometimes Canada, sometimes Mexico, but most of the time it's United States. You can hide the map if you rather not be an option. For instance, if you put in the address and you notice that the accuracy level here is very, very low, if it's under a 7, we don't recommend using the address because navigation systems may fail. And if that's the case, you may want to just go ahead and hide map, and I'll show you an alternate strategy in a moment. So let's say that we go ahead and hide the map. in this case. Here's some more event details: casual dress, come as you are. If you want this to stand out in the event summary list, you can click this to highlight that in the event summary list. Then you have an option to put in two URLs. And in this case, like I mentioned earlier, their um, level of confidence in the level of confidence from Google Mapping that they can actually direct somebody to that location was low, for instance. In this case, you would just go to their website, for instance, and find location, and you can go ahead and use that URL from their website, and then you can write a description, details about event location, and people can click that and maybe print that map out. And then link number two, this is a page specifically about the menu at this coffee event, and then you have a description for that link, which is view event food menu. Now, if you have already, and you should keep this in mind, that if whenever you set up an event for registration where people need to register and pay, for instance, for an event, what you want to do is you always want to fill it out here first in the calendar first, completely, because what happens is when you go into the event registration system to create a new event, it will ask you if the event is already available on the calendar. And when you say yes and choose it, it will preload a lot of the fields for you, so you don't have to do this two times. But if you went the other direction and you started at the event registration first, then when you click this drop down, you would actually find that event, and this is how you would link it to this particular calendar item. When people view it, it gives them an option to click here to register for this event. This is a auto copy event, and this allows you to copy an event. Let's say that it's monthly, and it's always on the first Wednesday of every month. So you would auto copy the event by first, then you would choose Wednesday, for instance, of each month, and it will auto duplicate this event. Now that's okay if the event is always at this location and it's always at the same time. So I would definitely want to have a set time here. I'd want to make sure that the location is always going to be the same, because if it's not, then you'll be auto copying an event that you'll have to go in and edit every time, and if you forget, it's kind of a mess. So I would suggest that you not use that unless it's very consistent. Alternate landing page: when people are done in with this event and they go on to the next page, what will happen is it will take them to a page that is all about the event and how exciting it is, and make sure you pledge your auction items now. There's all kinds of things you can do with that. Active and pending: when somebody submits an event for your approval, or if an event is added to the syndicated calendar system for the whole community, it always goes in pending status unless you've provided that user with administrative privileges for the calendar only. So the person that is in your workflow responsible for the calendar management will get an email from the system letting them know there has been a new event submitted for approval, gives them the appropriate link. They can go in and they would find that the event comes in pending status. They would simply change it to active and go ahead and click continue. So when you click continue, you now have an option to put a photo, for instance. Let's just say that you've had these coffee events in the past and you have some pictures. So you can go ahead and add a document or a photo to that. If it's a document, you might consider adding a menu here, or adding a form or a document that ultimately leads them back to a electronic form, if you will, about all the auction items that you're accepting for this event. But if you want to show off the event, you just add photos of past events at the same location, and you can add as many as you like, and then you can then go ahead and proceed. Now, there's two options here after you upload your photos. One is back to calendar events. I'll just take you right back to the list. You start over again. But you can also invite people by mail. And I'm going to show you how this works. Now, when you click on invitations, this is different than event registration. Event registration is where somebody will click on a link and it'll take them to a page where they can register. But let's say that you're having a mixer. It doesn't cost anybody any money to come to the mixer, but you want a rough idea of how many people might be showing up to the mixer. So this is perfect for that, but because what you can do is it'll bring in the host person's name automatically, her email at gmail.com, for instance. Send notifications to host email. If checked as invitees respond, notifications will be sent to the host email. That's to Mary Smith. If checked, uninvited people can invite themselves via the event information page. And you can click here and say, we really are excited about you coming to the coffee event mixer. Please let us know if you believe you'll be showing up, just so we can have a rough idea on how much food to bring. So you'll put a note in here, and let's just say, um, please let us know if you can even stress this, if you think you might be joining us. Okay, it's just a prompter. Click continue. And now what it's going to do is going to give you an option to send it to all of your full member plans, which should be here. Um, you could send it to, this is a little different because it's a testing system. Or what you can do is if you just, so you can just, all full member plans, you click this button, everybody in your database that's a full member, typically that's a paid member, will show up on the right hand side. Or what you can do is you can actually go here and choose people. Holding your control key down, you can choose people. You can add selected members to the list, and then what will happen is they will show up on the left hand side. Let's say that all of your members were listed here on the right, but there's a particular person that you would not like to invite, so you have the option to delete them in this case. What I'm going to do is delete all of these recipients at the top. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and find myself in here. Hopefully I can do that. I didn't even think about looking beforehand. I sure hope so. Let's go down to the S's. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my own address. I'm going to click add members list. And you can also add people to this invite by a project or committee. So let's say that you have a parade committee already set up in the system. You can choose it by the parade committee, and then only the people part of that parade committee would show up, which makes a whole lot of sense. Or a join date. Let's say that it's a new member luncheon and you're not charging them, it's an appreciation luncheon, or it's a orientation meeting, or let's say that you're going to be presenting commercecontrolpanel.com to your members so that they can get started in optimizing their business for commerce at no charge because they're now a member. Or by business category, let's say you just want to bring in only your restaurant owners. So you have a lot of flexibility here. In this case, I have myself. I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And you can see here that to add non-members to the list of invitees. So let's say that you have a speaker that's going to be coming. I know it sounds a little funny when we're talking about a mixer. I'm kind of going all over the place. But let's say that this event incorporated a speaker that's not a member of your chamber. You could add their email here. Like for instance, I'll just use another email address. Oops. There we go. And I'll go ahead and add to list, and you can see how easy that was. I click continue, and this is what's going to go out. Event on demand video training example, the coffee event. I see I forgot the T. Message, please let us know if you think you might be joining us. Those are the recipients. I'm going to go ahead and send the invitation, and it will tell you that the invitations are being sent. That is how you create a calendar of event.